Ladies and gentlemen, Saunch here. Welcome back to the Bodybuilding News Network. Another installment of Bodybuilding Today, where we talk about all things hot topic related in the world of bodybuilding and mostly bodybuilding, sometimes fitness. I want to talk about strongman eventually, but we are so cram-packed with Olympia news, it is just not feasible to talk about other things. But we're going to be talking about Michal Krizo and Nick Walker versus Blessing Awodibu, so stay tuned for those hot topics. Let's go ahead and start off with, obviously, Michal Krizo. Now, this is a recent physique update from Michal coming into the Olympia just under 2 weeks out. I think it's 10 days now. I fly in... let's look at the calendar. I fly in a day before the Olympia starts. I think it's on the 14th, and then I'm there till the 19th. So I'm pretty excited. But Michal Krizo, I think, is going to be one of these guys. I think he's going to be between him, Derek Lunsford, and maybe Andrew Jacked are going to be the three most impressive shockers to potentially the top six here. I did want to commentate on the discrepancies in his physique from the Elite Pro coming into the Olympia. There's been conversations about his conditioning being off, his tan being off, and his shakiness of posing. We will look at that in just a second here, or in a minute from now, so stay tuned for that. But I think that there is some validity to that conversation. He has looked sharper and harder competing at the Elite Pros Arnold Classic, or the Mr. Universe, I think they call it, or the Mr. International. You can see here a comparison of a post-show versus a pre-show. Very, very sharp, very conditioned on the Elite Pro stage, or at least a couple of days after for the photo shoot. The one on the right, just under 2 weeks out from the Olympia, the biggest show of his career, I think in most people's opinion. Now, this is also going to be a great opportunity for him to really prove that he belongs in the IFBB, not the Elite Pro, but the Big Boy League, the Premier League, as some people would say. Moving into the the video comparisons, I liked some of what I saw from these different showings. I believe these were both at the Arnold Classics, respectively. Well, actually, no. The one on the right is the Mr. Universe something, maybe Barcelona or something. And then the Arnold Classic Europe is what they call it. Now, I like what I'm seeing from him. The conditioning, I think, is probably the best we've seen from him. But really focus on how short he holds the poses. You're going to see a lot of these shots. He only has to hold it for a few seconds. I think everybody else is already in the shot, or the judges just don't make them hold the pose very long. And he's going to have an absolute wake-up call when Steve and the other judges are going to make them do back-to-back call-outs, one-on-ones. They're going to work this guy because they know it's a weakness, or at least a potential weakness. So that's my thoughts on that. Obviously, I want him to do well at the Olympia, so best of luck to Michal Krizo. Now, Nick Walker recently posted a what do you want to call it? A story on his Instagram, pretty much, in my opinion, squashing this whole beef between him and Blessing. Blessing is talking about, calling him a brick and all that stuff, whatever. Nick Walker is not a brick anymore. He has probably one of the strongest cases for a great midsection. We haven't seen issues with him in his transition shots, so I don't think that's going to be an issue either. The only thing Blessing really has is a very wide back. You'll see in just a second here, Marx Max Muscle giving us some phenomenal side-by-sides of the different shows here. But I wanted to talk about that story that Nick put up. He said in a story, he said, "There's a difference between friendly banter and just talking nonsense. That ain't it, LOL. Keep it up, buddy, and Merry Christmas." So in essence, the way I'm interpreting that is Nick Walker is saying he's just talking nonsense. You have a guy like Blessing who, in most people's opinion, is going to be outside the top 10, not going to be in the top 10. There's probably no way. The lineup is just too deep. And you have Nick Walker, who debatably could be a top 4 guy this year. He could even move up. It's really hard to say. I think 4th is a good place for him. I don't see him knocking out some of these absolute freaks. I think Michal Krizo is going to be really fun to see next to Nick. But these comparisons, it really highlights the strengths that Blessing has. Really solid glutes, a really strong back, decent legs from the front, nice midsection. I don't like the obliques spilling over, but I think he's able to hide it in some shots. Nick uses his forearms to kind of hide the oblique spill in this shot. So there are some things that, Blessing could win on, some of the shots he could win, but overall, I see this as a pretty solid dominant win for Nick Walker if they get put next to each other, even if it's just for the initial call-outs. But those are my thoughts on those two topics. Stay tuned for more videos today. We have just so much to talk about. There's no way I can fit it into one video. So thanks for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you in another episode.